Hi, I'm Sam Mosher here for E23. I'm joined by Michael Bayler, who's starring in this year's production of Death of a Salesman with the MU Theater Department. So Michael, could you give us a brief description of the play?
Yeah, Death of a Salesman follows the story of Willy Loman, who is a salesman living in the 1940s following the Depression. And it follows his life and his life in terms with his family and how his business, he's kind of a failed salesman. And it's kind of him trying to follow what he feels is the American dream and his sort of failures in that regard.
So you play the lead role of Willy Loman. Could you describe kind of what your character's like?
Willy Loman, for a lot of like our generation looking at him, is very much a jerk. He's a mean guy. He puts down those around him, but he's living this hard life in terms of feeling like he's never amounting to anything, when really he actually has things around him that he should be thankful for, and those kind of things. So just a kind of a grumpy, kind of psychotic, almost 60-year-old man.
So I was researching the play, and I noticed that his last name is Loman, which is like phonetically low man. So with such a tragic character, how did you prepare yourself for the role?
It's been kind of difficult. The fact that Willy Loman is 60 years old and I'm 21, it's a lot different to kind of play that and play what it's like to have that much life experience behind you, especially when I do not have that amount of life experience behind me. But in terms of how Willy acts and everything, it's just a process of looking how he kind of functions in the script and how he interacts with people and what his motivations are and what kind of drives him forward. Thinking about those things and trying to embody those things really kind of helps to bring the character to life.
What was the audition process like? Were you going for the role of Willy Loman?
The director had contacted me last year and told me to keep this time of the year open in case, just to have these auditions and everything. And so I went in and I auditioned. She read me for Willy Loman, and I wasn't sure if that's who she wanted me to play, just because I'm not nearly 60 years old, and there are some people, like grad students in the department, who are kind of closer to that age than I am. But throughout the auditions and the callbacks, I read for Willy a lot, and it seemed like she was interested in having me play him, and then I got cast. So
that's great, man. So what has the rehearsal schedule been like with getting the cast together and preparing for the production?
So the day after callbacks, we had our first read-through. Everyone got together and we read through the entire script and talked a little bit about it. And for me, being the lead role, I'm in rehearsals all the time. We usually have rehearsals 6 times a week for at least 3 to 4 hours, usually kind of like late at night, to prepare and go over scenes, do character work, all that stuff. And it's been a really quick process, quicker than other shows that we've done here, especially for a first show that we're putting on for the year. But it's been good. We've gotten all through it and we've gotten going.
So with the time period and your role as a 60-year-old man, what are the costumes and is there any makeup involved?
Yeah, there's a lot of makeup and it takes a while to do. A lot of the old age, highlighting the wrinkles. There's a wonderful freshman who's doing my makeup for me and making me look super duper old. And it looks really good, and the costumes are kind of dull colors to kind of give that melancholy kind of feel to the story, because it is a drama, so it's kind of a sad story. And the way the set looks also is kind of boxed in and kind of trapped and very bleak in a sense, but yeah, so it looks nice.
Who designed the set? Did anyone help? Any students help in the process of creating it?
Brad Carlson, who is a wonderful designer, he's a professor here. He designed the set, and John Dertina is another. He's the head of the undergraduate studies program for the University of Missouri Theater Department, and he designed the costumes for the show. So they had they were the ones that came together with the set and the costumes, working with the director. But we have a lot of wardrobe crew and run crew. They're all students. And like I said, the students do the makeup right now. They were taught by the head of the costume department, who is in charge of makeup and all that. And now the students have been taking the reins and making us look all pretty every night.
What are your other acting experiences like?
I've done about, I think 11 or 12 different shows here throughout my time here. a number of different roles, a number of different parts, a musical. You know, one time when we did a musical.
What musical was it?
It was called Roadshow. It's by Stephen Sondheim. It's kind of a lesser-known Sondheim musical. We did that a couple years ago, and so I've just been doing a lot of shows. My sophomore year is very busy. Did a lot of shows that year, and did a couple shows throughout the past couple summers doing the summer rep theater here, and so yeah, been very busy with theater and performing and all that.
Do you have a favorite show you've done here?
The show has been an interesting show. Last year with the same director, we did Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, and that was a lot of fun. It's kind of absurdist. It's like Hamlet, but backwards. It's like seen from the other side and from the secondary character's point of view, and that was a lot of fun. In the summer, we did Arsenic and Old Lace, which is kind of like more of a slapstick kind of comedy. It's an older comedy, but it kind of, I feel like the humor in it transcends time, so it was a lot of fun to be a part of that, and the director for that, Kat Gleason, was wonderful to work with as well.
With Death of a Salesman premiering this week, how has audience reception been? What do you hope audiences take from the show?
This show is considered it's considered the best American drama of all time. And so when audiences leave, there's a lot to think about. We had a respondent come to the show opening night for the College Theater Festival, and he said that even during intermission, he stayed in his seat because there's just so much even intermission to think about and to consider in terms of Willy's life and his son's life and his wife's life and all the people around him and how Willy kind of affects those people. And audiences have been taken really well to it. We hear a lot of sniffles, especially towards the end of the play, and I know my dad was kind of crying his eyes out by the end of it last night talking to him. So yeah, our audiences are really taking to and really thinking about what they're seeing, which is what we want.
So Death of a Salesman premiered in 1949. It's won Tony Awards and the Pulitzers. So you agree with it, like standing this test of time over so many years? Yeah.
This idea of what it's like to pursue the American dream and what it's like to kind of blindly follow it as well, and how kind of being so caught up sometimes in what you do and trying to win and trying to be successful, and how that can isolate the people around you. It's an idea that I think a lot of people as we get older are going to be able to relate to.
Is there anything else, any other stories you'd like to share?
It's been funny with the costumes. That's something that I always have just been thinking about. Like one of the final dress rehearsals, all the guys had problems with, we just absentmindedly, all our flies were down. So and even yesterday during the middle of the show, I come off the stage at one point during the first act and my fly was down for most of the act. I don't know what it is about this show, but
something about it.
Something about it is making it hard to remember to zip up the fly. So.
I see. Well, Michael, thank you so much for your time. Death of a Salesman is put on here by the MU Theater Department, and we look forward to many other shows in the future. I'm Sam Mosher for E23. For more content, check out our website at mutv.missouri.edu. Thank you.